Manojji is a stalwart. He's a master. What he does, no one can do the way he does it. I always wanted to make a film about like a world that I wanted to inhabit, and I wanted to have characters who excited me, or like little inner desires that I had.
Talk to me about shooting this movie on film, man. That is a really unorthodox decision to do to make your life that much harder.
Everything we did was to make our lives hard.
And I have the man of the moment himself, Raam Reddy, director, The Fable. Pure cast, I've spoken to everyone about your film. It's finally time to talk to you. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm very happy, excited, all of that.
Have you seen any tweets or posts or anything about the film yet?
Not yet.
Nothing.
No, I need to open up and see.
Because you're also not on Twitter, no?
No, I'm not on anything.
Ha. So,
All
acha.
those hermits. You know.
I know the film is not even close to being available for the public right now. We're only in the first kind of premiere stage. But what can you tell us about The Fable for those who have not watched it yet?
Well, it's a film about a happy family who live in the mountains, and they own this vast orchard. And as the film progresses, there are these fires that start in the orchards. They're mysterious. No one knows who's starting them or why. And eventually those fires lead to some revelations about the family.
I'll give you my detailed reading of the film later in private because I don't want to really spoil anything here. But one thing I observed that all your characters have mystical names.
Yes.
There's Dev, Nandini, Mohan,
Yes.
Juju, and Vanya.
Yes.
Right? They're all mystical, godly names almost.
Yes.
Talk to me about your characters.
Well, I always wanted to make a film about like a world that I wanted to inhabit, and I wanted to have characters who excited me, or like little inner desires that I had, or hopes that I had. I wanted to reflect them from each of these characters. So each of them kind of stands as a pillar on their own, with their own like inner voices, and their own personalities, and their own hopes and dreams, whatever. But yeah, each of them has something special, and each of them are different in that way. So Dave, he has a hobby where he builds wings,
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his daughter Vanya, which means of the forest, loves riding a horse through the woods, and has these little moments of telepathic communication with a nomad monk who's mystical and enchanting. And Nandini, she sings like an angel from such a deep place. There's something very rooted, grounding, and intuitive and beautiful about her spirit.
Yeah.
And her little son Juju, who knows if there's a leopard about, who likes to say hello to the hawks, and who just is like a bundle of inner joy, like unfiltered, beautiful, just purity. And then there's Mohan. And then all of these people are sort of
Keshav.
aspirational.
Keshav and Mohan are both the same god's names.
Yes.
They're both names of Lord Krishna.
Yes, and Keshav's wife Radha.
Radha. Oof. I mean,
So-
crazy. I kept wondering, what is Juju short for? Is it going to be Arjun? Is it going to be Justin? What? No, it's just Juju.
It was just Juju. We were discussing this on set, and I was like, Priyanka, what's your son's name? And she's like, Trilok. So I was like, there we go.
Trilok. You also said in the at the premiere that it's semi-autobiographical. To a huge extent, it's autobiographical for you, right? The story.
Yeah, it's very personal. Maybe not autobiographical. I mean, I wish I
You had the magic realism in your
I wish
life.
I had that going on, and I could call upon it like whoosh, when it's there. But it's very, very personal. And like you just mentioned, there are those mystical elements that mean a lot to me. She sings Shivoham in the first act.
That's beautiful, yeah.
And she sings Neharava in later on in the film. And each of them just alludes to that something more,
Yeah.
So all that means a lot to me personally.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work within, like, having that depth, but also have like a narrative that is really, really, I was hoping, gripping, and like something that just just keeps you like very rooted narratively as well. And so playing with those layers, that's what I've really enjoyed doing in this film.
Talk to me about shooting this movie on film, man. That is a really unorthodox decision to do to make your life that much harder.
Everything we did was to make our lives hard.
Why
Like,
film? I know it's set in the 80s, but only to give it that visual effect, or you have other reasons as well?
no, I mean, I really believe like in this transference of consciousness. And when you're shooting on film, it's tactile, it's a real chemical reaction that's happening. So light is bouncing off what we frame, our actors, their emotions, the sets, and it's actually coming and becoming something that's immortalized physically. So those rules are there, they exist, and that consciousness is always going to be there. So that aliveness, I feel, was the best way, because it's all about feeling and emotion. It's about how those notes are felt and then transmitted.
Yeah.
So I feel it carries more.
Ram, tell me about editing on film. Like, how does that process look like? Because you're not like actively physically splicing them and
Yeah,
sticking
we're
them
not
together.
doing the Steinbeck thing that
on those big machines.
That's how it was done, and it's all very romantic. But no, it's a little more practical nowadays. We do digitize it, but we took immense care in that whole pipeline to make sure that the emotion of it stays, and so it's digitized, and there's a lot of depth in that digitizing. It's not just like digitize it. We spent over a year with trial and error on the digitizing process, and then on creating the final pipeline through the digital intermediary to keep the very essence and soul of the initial sort of film. It also brings a lot of focus to set. It brings a lot of rigor to planning. It brings a lot of good practices to myself as a filmmaker and everybody around.
Now, I was speaking with your colorist, Siddharth Mir, who's just this incredible person who works on all these incredible films. And he was like, oh, you know, a while back we saw a different version of the film. This is a different version of the film. Have you finally achieved the version you're happy with, The Fable?
Yes. You know, I'm a perfectionist, and I always, I sometimes tweak things as I feel, and it's always like a process.
Yeah.
It's always been a process. So, but yes, no, this is something I'm happy with, and there may be some technical little things that we're going to, iron out. But yeah, this is where I think I'm happy.
Lastly, talk to me about your cast. You've put together this incredible group of people, Manoj Bajpayee, Priyanka Bose, Deepak Dobriyal, even Tilotama Shom, and all the other actors that you have. Talk to me about putting this cast together.
I mean, it's an incredible cast.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time. Firstly, I respect each of their body of work so much. Each of them has the ability to transform. So I used to work with non-actors because I wanted that authenticity.
Yeah.
These actors had the ability to create that authenticity through their craft. So for me that was extremely important. And I reached out to them way before the shoot. We did a reading a year before we were meant to go on floor. So we all lived with it, and we all really went into it. They've trusted me, which is incredible. And Manojji is a stalwart. He's a master. What he does, no one can do the way he does it. So I learned a lot from him. The way he holds the note. And same with Priyanka and Deepak. And I would like to at this moment highlight Hiral Sidhu, who plays Manojji's daughter.
Yeah.
Because
Vanya.
And Vanya and Juju as well, but Vanya particularly has this incredible realness to her. It's her first film, but she was incredibly mature as an actress, very responsive, so all of them came together to create the depth that I was talking about earlier in the interview.
Yeah,
So,
I was thinking
and
about...
Tilotama plays a very key and very beautiful role as well. So.
She's so malleable in everything she does. She becomes a part of the scenery and yet stands out as this firecracker bursting in front of it. I'm in awe of how she manages to bring her characters to life. I was looking at the end credits as they were rolling, and I realized that Vanya and Juju were first-time actors. What was that audition brief like? She must know how to horse ride very well.
Yeah, in bold, and exactly the way you said it, with complete disrespect for my casting director, Tess Joseph, who's again phenomenal, who did all the actors, and Gurpal Singh did all the non-actors.
Yeah.
But I said, Tess, please, she has to ride through the woods.
And ride well.
She has to fly through the woods.
Yeah.
And she's not even riding on a path or whatever. She's flying through the woods. So, yeah, that was a very serious part of the brief, made the casting very challenging. To pull off a teenage protagonist who's like a rider and things
Yeah.
like that. But no, I mean, we're all very rigorous. We all care about every little thing, you
And it
know.
shows. It shows in the film. It showed, the audience felt it as well in the screening that I was in. And I'm pretty sure the reviews that are about to come out, you have nothing to worry about.
Thank you. Wow, that means a lot.
Thank you, Ram, for your time
Thank you
today,
so
man.
much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.